Hi, I'm Kat, and I'm 20 years old.
Good morning, Kat.
Good morning. How are you doing this?
I'm doing fantastic.
That's good to hear.
So I have a question that I want to start our conversation with.
Yeah.
What do you think people's first impression of you is?
Honestly, oh man, I get this a lot. A lot of people think that I'm overwhelming at first, and I understand it's because I kind of have like an aggressive personality, and I'm really me. Like I don't hold back. Like it. I mean, it may depend on like the context or the situation, but I try not to hold back. I try to be really me, because I feel like a lot of people in this world aren't. So the first impression they get is overwhelming, maybe a little crazy, maybe sometimes annoying. I've been called that too, but they say once they really warm up to me, they get to see that I'm like very kind and compassionate and that I have like a lot of empathy for like everybody else, and I try not to focus too much on myself. They'd say I'm pretty selfless, if anything.
That's awesome.
Thank you.
Do you work?
I do. I work, actually this is something I'm really proud to talk about. I recently just quit my job at Domino's. I used to be just, a manager, and I've started my own company. It's called Cat and Dogs, and I'm a professional dog walker, and it's Cat and Dogs LLC, so it's trademarked.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I'm so happy. It's keeping me stable and even making more than I used to make at Domino's, just by walking dogs, doing what I truly love.
So you love animals?
I love animals. They're my everything. I have 5 dogs at home, actually, and Piggers, Clover, Camo, Bambi, and Frijole. They are amazing dogs, and I love them with all my heart. I actually used to be a cat person, no pun intended with my name, but since I got dogs, I've definitely changed my point of view.
Oh,
They make me really, really happy.
that's good. And I'm sure you do the same for them.
Oh yeah, definitely. And Piggers, she never stops smiling, and her butt wags so much. It's my favorite.
Do you live on your own? Do you live with family?
I actually live in Simi Valley with my family. When I was 18, though, I did move out on my own with my sister. We moved to LA, and we had a good year, a good run there. And then we got broke, and we were like, okay, let's move back here with mom and dad. So it's saving up again for the next move out.
So do you just have the one sister? Do you have other siblings?
I have one sister, and I have 5 brothers. 5 brothers. Yeah. Big
oh
family.
Boy.
Yeah, but the family that I have is, I'll try and keep the story short, but my mom is my dad's 4th wife. So she's my mom. Biologically she is, and she's also biologically one of my brother's moms and my sister. So 3 siblings full blood I have. Half brother, I have Tyler, but I consider all of these full, by the way. He's with my dad's 3rd wife. I have Pierce, who I've only met a few times in my life. He's actually not blood related, but when my dad met his 3rd wife, she was pregnant with another man's child, and that guy skipped town when she found out he was pregnant. So my dad took the father role, and, from when she was 2 months pregnant, he was by her side. So he considers that his son. And then my last brother, James, who, I get a little choked up talking about him, but we kind of had him from like a young age because his mother was going through some, I'd say, just personal issues, and I don't want to elaborate on that. So we took him in. Just to get him away from that kind of environment for a little bit and, raise him right. And then his mother, became good. So they reunited, and he kept in contact, though. He'd come every day. He'd just walk in the door, didn't even knock. It's James Brown from downtown, that was him, James Brown. And he served in the Navy for like 4 years, I believe. And he's my hero. He always will be to this day. And he's my angel in heaven right now. And I know he's watching over me as we speak.
How long ago did he pass away?
That was in 2015, so almost 5 years ago, actually. He was off base like he does sometimes, and he was partying with some of his local seamen, I guess you could call them, and he was having a really great time. He was intoxicated. He wasn't driving, don't worry, it wasn't like that, but the last thing that his friends knew was he went to the balcony, he said, I'm going to go get my keys, and then they saw him fall over the balcony. It was just the way he landed, the 1 out of a million chance, just the certain place he landed on his head. And it just kind of happened immediately. So I get comfort in the fact knowing he didn't have to suffer.
Oh, I'm sorry for your loss.
You know what? I'm not. I see him all the time. I believe in something what's called numerology. And it's like numbers you were given from when you were born. And his is 316 all the time. When I'm just thinking of him, the thought in my head of just James, a license plate will pass by at 316, so I look at the clock. 316, my odometer has 316, something like that, and I see that, and I feel a little better knowing that he's with me. I get that validation just like that. That's just my thing.
That's amazing. But that's a nice connection, and that's a great way to feel and to keep someone alive.
Yeah.
I do, and I do appreciate that. So tell me a little bit about, we talked in the park. Tell me a little bit about your life leading up to being 20.
Looking back, I think I went through a really beautiful transition overall, and I'm proud of who I am today.
Awesome. You mentioned in the park to me some struggles that you had along the way.
Yes.
Do you care to share any of those?
Oh man, I would love to share my struggles, because if I can like help anybody, if someone can relate or something, like that's my goal. Like I think everyone in this lifetime wants to be understood, but no one wants to understand. So that's why I'm here, because I want everyone to understand and maybe brush that off on some people and they'll take that from me. But some of the struggles that I went through, I'd say, honestly, growing up, teens, they have that phase, they're rebellious and whatnot, but I'd say mine went a little deeper than that, just with a troubling family life and, just with inconsistent communication and overall highs and lows within my family. I turned to my first coping mechanism, which was cutting, actually. And, I'm very thankful that my scars are actually very light, and since I'm very pale, like, you just can't see them, which I'm really, really grateful for, because in the moment at 14 years old, I just thought, like, this is it. I didn't want to live. Like, I really just defined my life as nothing. It wasn't worth anything. I didn't amount to nothing. So then I continued on, and I guess I did end up, stop cutting, actually. I got therapy for that, which was beautiful. And then I would say at 16, another big loss was my brother, James. That was something I had to cope with. And major event would be this year, actually. I met a man, and he changed my life forever. I thought I was love at first sight, and I thought this was impossible. I didn't understand love could work that quickly. I didn't understand. He said he wanted to marry me, like we were gonna do all these things together, go travel the world, we were gonna live together. Soon he moved in with me and my family, and it just all felt so real. It felt like fate, but then reality came in, and the abuse started happening. And it was mental first, and then it became verbal, and then it became spiritual, attacking my beliefs with God, and then it became physical. And I also happened to be an insomniac on top of this, and I started having seizures. I started having stress seizures, and it was a certain kind. They're called like partial focal aware seizures, if I'm correct. It's where I remember the seizures and I know it's happening, but I just can't do anything about it. And usually no one was around for them, so they couldn't help me, but it only lasted 30 seconds. So afterwards, what I did is I learned about seizures. I learned about what I could do with them. I learned how I could better my body. I learned how I could better my mind. I started learning, God, how do I get sleep? I got to take care of myself. And then as I'm focusing so much on me and all these factors, in my life, like, what can I do to do better? It was like God was telling me, you need to break up with this man the entire time. Like, there were times where I just wanted to give up. Like, I thought about just ending my own life. Before he'd met me, I was this happy, independent person. I had confidence. I had strength. I thought I was at a good point in my life. But now I realize I'm at an even better point in my life. But, that man had brought me down to the dirt, and he made me feel like that. And I turned into that at one point. He just stepped all over me. And I let it happen for so long. It was like every other day he'd break up with me. He would, physically do things to me, like grabbing and shaking me or pulling my arms or, smacking my legs, stuff like that. I wouldn't say I'm saying very fortunate that it didn't get worse, but I do understand that it did happen. So I'm not, like, invalidating it. I would say another recent struggle I got into as well, actually, this week has been a little crazy, but then it came out to something good. I had a guy hit me last week in my car. I'm okay. The other guy's okay too. My whole front grill is gone. And then, like, a day after that, I got a flat tire, and I was like, cool. And then 2 days later, got another flat tire, and I was like, super cool. I had to replace and get 2 new ones. Then I dropped my phone down a gutter, and I had to call the fire department to come get it. And that took a few hours. And then I was eating honey walnut shrimp at Panda Express, and I cracked my tooth. Like, to me, I never say, oh, why are these things happening to me? Oh, God, why would you do this? So I like to say, how can I use my resources as my resourcefulness? What can I do? How can I improve the situation? What factors and variables can I use to my advantage, I guess? So
just to ask a quick question.
Yeah.
So how long did you stay in this relationship?
Honestly, I just recently cut him out of my life. Like, a month ago was the last factor when he tried to finally attack me in front of my family. He's tried contacting me on social media after that on like fake accounts. He's been following me. He's come to my work, my old work, Domino's. It's getting to a point where I am thinking of possibly a restraining order.
I would think that would be a smart choice,
Yeah.
Kat.
Yeah, I think so too. A lot of people have been telling me
Is he your age or is he older than you?
He's 21 turning 22.
So he's your age.
Yeah, about so. And so I like to see people as unresolved traumas, not that this defines their character, but at the same time, there's no excuse for abuse. There's no excuse for anything. I didn't deserve the way I was treated, and I really hope he gets the help he needs in the life that he deserves.
I hope so too. Well, and I'm so glad to see that you are so positive. And what do you think would surprise people to know about you? One little thing.
What do I think would surprise? That's actually an interesting question. Let me think. I mean, honestly, what does surprise people about me, I get this a lot. You're nothing like your family. Like, I take that as a compliment, honestly, because I'm not. I am nothing like my family. I would say my family's pretty unaware. Most of them, not all. Like my mom, she's very intuitive. She's here. I'd say my dad's not. My brother's really not. They're both addicted to their computers, and my dad's addicted to TV, so they're very distracted all the time. So when I talk to people and I articulate myself and I'm very well-spoken and, direct with what I'm saying, they compliment me on my etiquette, my vocabulary, my body language, all that. And they go, "You're really smart." And I was, my entire life I've been told I'm not. Like, not from my parents, essentially, a little bit. But, mostly like friends, acquaintances, classmates, bullies, stuff like that. So when people come up to me and they say, "You're nothing like your family," or, pause, "You're so smart," something like that, it's like, thanks. That's something that surprises me because my entire life I thought I was stupid. I thought I would only amount to that. I thought the learning disabilities I was diagnosed with and the mental stuff, like I really thought that defined me. And just this year I really found out, no, it doesn't. It really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. I'm glad.
Yeah.
So last question.
Yeah.
So if you were walking down the street and you could hold up a sign that people that would pass you by would see, what's the one thing you would want them to know about you?
I'd probably say I have a dream.
I love that.
And my dream is to just kind of save the world with what I can and with what I have. I like to consider myself a dreamer, and I have big dreams, and nothing's ever going to stop me from getting in the way of that. And my dream, honestly, is to, one, sing. I sing for God, and I sing for my brother, And honestly, singing is a great conversation starter. I mean, one, you came up to me. Two, when I'm singing, the first thing people say is, "Wow, you're a really nice singer." And I go, "Thank you so much. How's your day going?" I try and direct the conversation off of me because it's not about me and it never was. I want to talk to you and I want to become friends because also, like I did mention to you, no one in my family talks. So I love to talk. I love to meet new people. I love to make friends. I love to be a social butterfly. I'm a Leo, so I'm just extroverted naturally at the heart. And so I want you to know that you matter. Your existence matters. You're special and you have a purpose here on this earth. And I'm so glad that I found mine because my purpose is to show everyone else has a purpose.
That's the whole point of the show is that everybody deserves a smile.
Exactly.
The only way we can start to treat each other better is to try to understand each other.
Exactly.
So I can't thank you enough for sharing your story with us.
Yeah, I appreciate just the time.